Coach Deborah has a passion and purpose to assist young men, ages 15 to 24, to overcome obstacles and build their best lives. She wants to see every young man live out their potential. She has a master's degree in human services counseling, with a major in life coaching. More importantly, she is the mother of 3 boys, who are exceptional, educated, professional men. Coach Deborah believes it is better to train early, rather than need to fix later. She utilizes basic principles and God-led concepts. Sometimes the only thing a young man has is their credibility or their name. The actions they take are based on the decisions they make. Those decisions align with their choices and result in consequences. Coach Deborah can assist you if you are lost, floundering, or confused. Embrace the help and start building your best life today.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is so good to be back on this beautiful Saturday morning talking with my brothers. It is a delight. I've been missing in action for a while, but I'm back. I'm fired up. I got a lot to say. I've got a lot to say, and we got a short time to say it within. And so with that said, man, we're going to dive right into the talk. You guys know these gentlemen, Deacon Dan Smith, Derek, Dr. Levette, and I'm Ricardo, and we're talking today on 7 worst life decisions a young man can make. What a subject. Gentlemen, good morning. What's your thought, first and foremost, when Coach Deborah sent us this information? When you looked at the topic, what came to mind before we dive into our talk?
Well, for me, I was thinking, why only 7? Because there's a plethora of decisions. Because it's so many decisions that a young man can make that could definitely lead his life in the wrong direction.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I was kind of thinking, okay, if we only doing like Derek, it's way more than 7, but if we only doing 7, I got to try to think of the 7 worst ones. So I was trying to wrap my mind around what are the 7 worst.
Yes. What about you, Deacon Dan?
Well, I was looking at him. I kept saying, my goodness, 7. You talking about some areas we're looking at, you got 10, 15. Okay. So, yeah, that's where I just look at it.
Well, you know, the whole element here, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are watching us around the world, we want you to know we understand decisions have consequences. Okay, decisions has consequences, and when one makes a decision that ruins his or her reputation, it costs them the rest of their lives. So we want to dive into this whole concept of how young men must open their eyes, their ears, and their spirit before making decisions, because one bad decision can ruin your life forever. Gentlemen, let's dive into this. Let's start by talking about the elephant in the room. Let's go with what are 7 of the worst decisions a young man can make in your view? Everyone throw in maybe 1 or 2 of them. Give me 2 or 3 of yours, and we'll bring those 7 together as to let's see what some of your hot topics will be in regards to something that will mess a young man up. Who's going to start us off?
I'll be glad to.
Okay.
Well, one of mine would say having unprotected sex.
Okay.
That's 1. 2 is quitting the job before you have a strategy for your next move.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And
I simply came up with lying.
Lying. Wow.
Stealing.
Okay.
Two bad decisions that really two of my 7 worst.
Yes.
So I took those 2 from the top of my list.
Listen, I like those. Deacon Levette, those first 2 was me. And those messed me up. Deacon Dan, your first 2, I'm praying for my son. I'm like, hey man, you can't quit a job without having a plan for the next job.
Right.
Hey, watch that college life you live in, man. Let me tell you something. Your stuff will drop off on the streets. You could find yourself messed up, RJ. So listen, come on. I know you're in college, but I know university life feels some kind of way. Derek, what would you say?
These two guys went really deep, really fast. I was trying to, just be calm and on the surface. The two I was thinking about were choosing the wrong friends.
Wow.
And not chip of your.
You broke up on the last one. I didn't hear the last one.
Not taking ownership of your mistakes.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, come on. Oh, man, good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about 7 worst life decisions a young man could make. If you're watching us for the very first time, please like our YouTube channel, subscribe to like our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Every month, Coach Deborah does this. And we're talking because there are mothers who are watching us who have sons, and they should let their sons watch this because the 4 of us, we've had some life experiences, and also we've seen some observation as to how and what could ruin somebody's life. And so we're going to dive into this. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to push the envelope a little bit more. Give me one more off your list, man. Let's see if there was one that was not mentioned that you thought, oh, nobody mentioned it, but I'll plug this in since y'all gave me 2. Give me one more, each of you.
Well, I started off. The one that I'm gonna add is thinking that you have forever to accomplish.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Tiggy, you don't have forever. You sure don't. Dr. Levant, what would you say?
I would say, and this almost sound a little. And when I was thinking it through, I was like, I was getting ready. I scratched it out one time, but I put it back in there, and that was cheating through your life.
Yeah.
Just cheating, just continuous cheating in everything you do. Schoolwork, cheating on your jobs, cheating with coming in late, stealing time, stealing supplies from the office. Cheating, just
man,
doing it. So yeah.
You must be a psychologist, man, because you going into the deep ones. You going to the you going to the heart issues, man. Hey, listen, when guys are lying and stealing and cheating all the time, man, those are some really messed up core value issues. You know, that's real talk right there. Deacon Dan, what would be your additional?
My additional would be having a kid when not ready.
Ooh.
That's a deep one.
That's a game changer right there. Yeah. Hey, that has some connection to that unprotected sex a little bit. Right. But boy, that's a real one. And for ladies and gentlemen, for those who are watching, I mean, a lot of guys take no thought for the level of responsibility that goes into bringing a child into this world, especially if you're going to man up, and which every young man should do.
Correct.
And let's talk about this. It's not on our list to talk about, but what does manning up look like when you end up finding out the kid that she got pregnant? Well, I want each one of you give me a thought. She got pregnant. Oh, your son came to you and says, Dad, she's pregnant. What do you say? Let me hear. We're going to start with Deacon Levant. Dr. Levant.
Okay. Well, the first thing is let's sit down and talk. Okay, because we got to put a plan together now. Because you're not going to run away from your responsibility.
Okay.
I mean, as my dad told me, if that's the decision you make, if you lie down with that decision, just understand when you wake up, there comes a responsibility with it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What about you, Derek? What would you say to that son? Oh man, she's pregnant. I just found out. Dad.
Okay, for me, I'm gonna speak from a position that I actually went through. I did go through the situation where I got called and I heard those words, "I'm pregnant." Now, for me, what I should instead of what I did was actually, as we call, man up, and just lean into the situation and actually be there for first the woman. You got to be there for her first, in order to bring the child into the, for her to take her to doctor's appointment, being there, and just the whole process of bringing a child into this world is hard enough by yourself as a woman, but as a man, you have to fulfill your responsibility because it shows your character. So, and so stepping up into that role of actually manning up, being there for that woman first, and then being there to raise this child up is very important.
So good. So good. Deacon Dan, I think I heard you at one of our other talks before. You were real stern on this subject matter. I'm very interested in hearing what you're going to say.
Well, first of all, we had that talk. You sit down and have that plan. Okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to take care of this child? Because it's number one, it's not your daddy's responsibility to take care of this child. It's your responsibility. How are you going to take this child? Sit down, let's talk. How are you going to take care of this child? I'm going to give a example of one. I have a nephew, and for some reason, he has a young lady pregnant. So his thing is, I'm going to the Navy. I said, wait a minute, before you go in the Navy, this child going to be here.
Yeah. So
what are you going to do? How are you going to take care of it?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't not your responsibility, your mother, to give you money to take care of the child, or it's your responsibility to bring this child up into this world as I would say, in a lifestyle that they won't be have to want for anything. So that's one of my main points right there. You got to be able to take care of the child. You got to get a job.
Yeah.
You might want to go in the Navy, that's fine, but you got to get a job. And once you're in that Navy, then what you gonna do? You're gonna get allotment to make sure you come back to this child.
Yeah.
It's the next thing you got to do.
So good. Let's talk about this then. This is really connected. When we talk about setbacks, that could be a setback. You said you want to go to the Navy, but now you got responsibilities. You want to go to college, but you got responsibilities. I mean, decisions made that were wrong or bad. Let's talk about some of the setbacks that's been mentioned. Let's look into those. Go, Derek, kick us off. You go ahead, Derek.
Okay. And for me, like I said, I'm gonna stay on actual life experiences.
Yeah.
For me, I got that call. I just finished high school. I have offers to go to different colleges, and she calls me and tells me that she's pregnant. And then I make the decision that, hey, I'm trying to man up. So I don't go off to school. I don't follow my dream of playing sports. I call myself manning up and being there for her and the kid. And so for me, the setback was I didn't pursue my dream. I didn't pursue the things that would have took me to the next level. And this is the kicker, y'all. For anybody who's watching, the child ended up not even being mine.
Wow. Yeah. That's a blow right there.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, that's a blow, and that's becoming more of a reality when we start to hear experiences like that. You be like, you mean to tell me what? Man, we're gonna have to do a show and pick your brain. And we got the I'm not gonna say he's a licensed therapist, but we got Dr. Levette who asks them questions. He probe in a little bit deeper than normal. We're gonna let him pick the brain of you, because that's strong right there, brother. That breaks some men who've had challenges like that. They almost like, how do I man up now? I ain't taking responsibility for nothing until I get a test, And so, thanks for sharing that, Dr. Levette. What would you say in regards to when we start looking at the setbacks along the way?
Well, I too, like Derek. You always hear the term experience is the best teacher. Yeah. And sometimes people disagree with that. But I will say experience may not be the best teacher, but experience is a great teacher.
Yes.
And one of the things that, and I can attest to a situation in my life. And then when I was early part of my career in the Army, made a mistake, in the Army. I hit a criminal investigation division investigator. I hit him because he kind of grabbed me because about to get in a fight with a guy, and they were just walking through. And before I know it, I turned around, I hit him, broke his nose, got in trouble. I was a model soldier up to that point. Model soldier. I had been a soldier of the quarter, soldier of the year. I got all some accolades, and I made this mistake. And what I'm leading to is that the recovery from making a mistake is so tough. The recovery for me probably it set me back about 2 years, because it took me another almost 2 years to get back to where I was, because I got in trouble. I lost some rank. I was lucky I didn't go to jail, and the only reason I didn't go to jail is because he did touch me before, it wasn't, I didn't provoke it. It just happened. It was just a response, but it just go to show you that it's easy to get into trouble.
Yeah.
But it's always much harder to get out. And so my point was that whole recovery, it's hard to recover from once you have a setback from a bad decision.
Wow. It's hard to recover, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for those of you guys that are watching. Kendrick is watching. Maria is watching. All of you guys who are watching, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Deacon Dan, what are your thoughts on this whole setback deal when it comes to poor decision making?
Well, poor choices leads to a poor lifestyle with time.
Yeah.
So when you do those poor choices, like I say, through the time, like Levette had it's 2 years. So that was a poor choice. He knew he didn't find out to come back, but then look at the time span that he had to give up. 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I look at. When you do poor choices, it got to be you got to learn how to come out of that. So, and maybe it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
But them poor choices are gonna hurt you.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to pay for it. Somehow you're gonna pay. Somehow you're gonna feel that. Let's talk about this whole concept of understanding that some people are just not good for you, man. Some people are, just outright criminals, man. I got a couple of dudes who I knew I can't hang with. Even if the police sees you with them, they're gonna pull you over because they're notorious. You know what I mean? They got a reputation. Let's talk about, why would a young man jeopardize their life by hanging with known criminals, individuals who are just problematic? And we know there are some guys that are just problematic. Some girls are just problematic. Years ago, I remember going out to dinner, and I was with this lady I was dating, and she was problematic, man. She wanted to snap at everybody, you know what I mean? And I had to be a defender, because if she snap at you, you can't snap back at her because she's with me. And I'm like, hey man, why you snapping at everybody? I can't date somebody who want to snap at everybody, because I'm not gonna let them snap back at you because you with me.
Right.
But then Houston, we got a problem. So once again, you got to learn how to identify who not to do life with, right? Yeah, man, we go way back. Yeah, we go way back, and I'm gonna leave you in the back. Okay. Let's Dr. Levette, you want to kick us off with this?
Okay. So I think the main thing is it's twofold for me. The first one I would say is acceptance. They want to be accepted by the people they hang around. Now, watch this twist, though. They also want to be accepted by their enemies, what they perceive as their enemies. And you'll say, well, why would somebody want to be accepted by their enemies? They want to be accepted by their enemies because to them, that's a form of respect. Mm-hmm. It's about respect. Their acceptance is respect with their enemies. But with their friends, they want to be accepted because they want to be part of the group. So that's a lot of times why they'll jeopardize, their life, and they'll jeopardize the choices they make and the decisions they make. They bring jeopardy to them because of that type of crowd they hang around. If you hang around them, you're gonna become what you'll be around.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be what they say, you can be easily become the product of your environment.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I see it as. It's twofold. It's acceptance, it's acceptance, and then and also it's peer pressure.
Yeah. So good. Derek, what's your view?
I'm going to double down on Dr. Levette's acceptance, because not only do you want to be accepted by your friends, but the need for acceptance comes from within. You feel like there's something missing, like that you're not enough, that you have to place yourself with certain people or environments in order to make yourself look better. And then with that, what we don't understand, we got to go back to the responsibility. Whatever you attach yourself to, you inherit their problems. You inherit that they are involved in. And so you have attached yourself to someone who is negative. And so guess what? When you attach to somebody who's negative, the negative things that come to them will also come to you. Just like if you're a part of a gang, guess what? When they shoot and you're with him, guess a stray bullet might hit you also. Guess if you with a negative one, Miller said, and she has a negative attitude, and she rubs somebody the wrong, and now he's aggressive. Guess what? Now you have to defend her because she's with you, and guess now you're in a whole different altercation over something that you didn't even.
So let me ask you guys this. Let me let me push the button. Kendrick, put it in the comment section too. I want some guys put it in the comment section. Deacon Dan, I'm coming back to that question, but I'm gonna throw this wrench in the wheel and ask, hey, is it, because I'm thinking, guys, we all were taught you got to defend the girl who's with you, right? But what if she's wrong? What if she's wrong, Deacon Dan? What if she's wrong, Dr. Levette? That, man, she is pushing the situation to a point where you could defend her, but man, you're gonna be wrong for defending a wrong person for having done wrong. Let's go there for a minute. I want to see what y'all thought, because we got this automatic state. If the girl is with me, I gotta protect her. But yet she is the one who is causing there to be a problem. Where do we go with that? What do you say? Do you leave her there, or you say, hey man, if you start something, that's gonna be on you?
Let me say this. As a girl dad of 3 girls, let me say this. Anytime a young man took one of my daughters out on a date, one of the first and lasting things that comes out of my mouth is, you better take care of my daughter.
All right.
Which means you better protect her. I'm expecting you to protect her. Now, you get caught in that catch-22 where she goes out and runs her mouth off and pops off at somebody, and you got to defend her. I would say first, as a man, and I've done this before years ago when I was a young guy. I first tried to diffuse that because I know she was wrong.
Yeah.
So I tried to diffuse it and first get on her and say, hey, that was wrong. You wrong for that. Yeah. Hey, brother, it ain't even, we ain't even got to go through all that. Yeah. Just keep moving on, and we're going to keep moving on and let it be what it be. That's the hope that it'll go that way. But, because you can find yourself, you can lose your life trying to defend somebody that's wrong. And that's a hard pill to swallow, particularly for a parent.
Yeah. So good.
So that's my take. That's what I'm gonna let Deacon Dan pick it up from there.
Well, this is where you got to, where your mindset going to be. She's wrong, but one of the things you don't want to do, you need to figure out a way how to get her out of there without talking in front of other people. Get her by herself. I think she'll appreciate more than that, because if you do it in front of her and there's other people sitting around, then you're gonna have a problem on your hand. But she's gonna say, how did that, here comes the escalation of the voices and stuff like that. So That's what you got to do. Separate her, get her out of there, speak to her. You know, diffuse the situation. I always like the word diffuse. Diffuse it. So that way you won't have to put yourself in jeopardy, and you can get her out of there. And once you get her out of there, then that means that, hey, well, I ain't going out with you no more. That's it.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know? I mean, she'll call, well, why you want to go? Well, you know, unfortunately, your attitude and what's called is gonna get you in trouble. They ain't gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for me to step away from you.
Yeah. That's real talk right there. That's real talk. Derek, what's your view?
I mean, like the doctor and the deacon both said some very key components, but we also have to address the other individual. We have to let him or whoever that individual know and understand that the way they feel or what they went, what they experience is valid, because that's the only way you're really going to diffuse the situation. And once you get them to a point where, you know, they feel heard, and you try to diffuse it and separate, as Deacon Dan say, get her in the. You tell her about herself. 9 times out of 10, she's gonna feel like she didn't do anything wrong. And when she makes that statement, that's when you know and understand that this relationship is over with. Because I don't really quote the Bible much, but it definitely says that if you take the side of an angry person or a confused woman or a woman who causes a lot of confusion, you're going to have to do it again. So in order to be responsible to yourself first, you have to remove yourself from the situation.
So good. So good. Let's go back to our talk. Deacon Dan, you did not get a chance to talk about that whole jeopardizing oneself because of association. You know, you realize this is a knucklehead. This person ain't going in the right direction. That's leading to anything. What's your view there?
I'll be on that. You know, a lot of people think they owe loyalty to their friend.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back when I was coaching baseball at the church. And I had this one young man, outstanding athlete, you know, in all his sports, even when he was in school, football, basketball, baseball, outstanding athlete. But his mistake was he was loyal to one of his friends. So when his friends got with him one morning and said, oh, you're going to rob somebody. Give this guy a rifle, a gun. They went to rob the person. The gun went off, accidentally went off, but it hit the young man they was going to rob. So circumstance, it got into the point that this kid ain't never been in trouble. And I didn't like the way the judge really handled it because he had never been in that situation. But the judge come back and say, well, this guy he shot is going to be this form or something happened to him for the rest of his life. So he going to be punished. Gave the boy 28 years. Boy ain't never had no trouble at all.
Wow.
Had a scholarship, finna go to college. All that's lost. So why you want to be, you know, if you're going to be loyal to him and you know they're finna do something wrong, it's time for you to for the light to come on. They say, "Oh, hey man, it's time. Hey, no, I ain't got time to go to that. I ain't going that way." You know, and loyalty to a person being like that, I don't think that's not being loyalty to going out and do something wrong.
Wow.
But I mean,
Hey, Coach.
Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt you, Deacon Dan, but I want to reinforce what you, because the story you just told was almost exactly the same as my story. And the individual got killed in my situation. I had never been in trouble. I was a star athlete. I was scored so high on my SAT, I didn't have to take college entry exams. But none of that meant anything when I got inside that courtroom. First time ever in trouble. And guess what? They gave me 25 instead of 28. I did 17 years on it. But the thing is this. Like you said earlier, once you make those bad decisions, you can't let those bad decisions define you. I was able to come out of that situation, turn my life around, and just get on the right path. And I'm trying to make sure the other younger individuals that's coming behind me don't make those same decisions. So you extremely right. And this is not a story. This is real life. Hey, for anybody who's listening, this is real life experience. He's not telling you anything wrong.
Deacon Dan.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, Derek. And you know, this kid, I couldn't, you know, it really bothered me. It really hurt me when I found out what had happened. So I guess he probably got another maybe 5 years before he could be eligible for parole. But I'm finding out that with the business I started up, this handyman service, I can help a lot of young men. So one of the he was talking, and there's this young lady that has a son that nobody's willing to give him a chance. So I told her, well, I'll talk to her. I will, to the parent, so I can give this young boy an opportunity to follow me and show him some learning some trades in carpentry, plumbing, electrician, everything that I know. Give it to him so he can go out there and make his money. Because right now he's feeling that he spent a little time in jail, not much, but he's feeling that nobody's willing to help him. And when they start feeling like that, then you finna go back into you're right back into where you come from.
Yeah, because you believe that's where your support system is. So good. Gentlemen, both of you, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, Derek, for sharing your story, because somebody's watching today who, as you just mentioned, one decision today can literally find yourself, but I've never done anything else wrong. Yeah, you've never, and like you said, you had a lot of great things going for you, but it didn't matter. And Deacon Dan mentioned the judge made a decision based on the fact of this person is going to live their life, the rest of their life, with the scar, the deformation of whatever that was that came from the decision of this person. So we got to teach our kids, man. To every cause, there's an effect. To every action, there's a reaction. Gentlemen, let's dive into this. Dr. Levet, I want to hear your views on Christian trained, educated, smart, well taught, but yet misguided by peer pressure and now find themselves going the wrong way, going down the wrong path. And this is the situation where it's no longer he don't know better. What's your view there?
Well, I think with that, the reason they get into that type of situation is because even though they had that Christian raising, they've been reared and educated through it in the church, and they doing pretty well. They doing good in school and doing all that. But there's still this need to feel important. There's also sometimes there's a need to feel value. And when they want the importance and they want value, it's a little different from acceptance. Sometimes when they raised in the church, they don't necessarily always, they don't always need that acceptance of the bad crowd, because they see all of that going on and they kind of don't want no part of that. However, there's still this part of them that they want to be important. And if they see something that looks important to them, then that's what they can find themselves gravitating to. If they see something that seems like it brings value to their life, then they'll gravitate to that. Even if it's not one of those Christian values, but it's still because there are values that are outside, that sometimes outside the church, that that a young man have to deal with. Their value, they have other values outside of the church.
Yeah.
And so if those values are not fulfilled in a positive way, then they could easily find themselves like you got that misguided cousin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you close to. Y'all grew up together. Y'all even shared drawers together. But what I'm saying is that y'all grew up and were so close, You got one he misguided out there doing his thing, and you see to you it might look like he's being valued and look important in what he's doing, but he's really not. And so you could get caught in that. So I would say to any young man looking at this, don't get swayed by that. You stick with the values that you learn from church and expand those out into the world.
So good. So good. Derek, what's your view?
And I don't know if Coach Deborah just wanted me to tell story questions because every question feel like it's directed at something that I experienced because I was raised in the church also. And I think that for young men like me, going to church was a forced thing. And so it was a certain level of rebellion. And then once you get inside of the church, we have to find out how church and what we're learning in church actually applies to everyday life. The ability to apply without the lessons being applicable, we won't find any value in it. So the young probably watching this, he might be, his mom might have him going to church, but he doesn't find the value in it. And so why would I, back to Dr. Lovett, back to the word value, that's the thing that's, how can I value, how can I lean into that and actually lean on that if I don't find the value in it? If it doesn't help me take my life to the next level, or everything around me that actually uses those quote unquote principles is not succeed, they're not getting the I find or see as success, then why would I lean on it? So what I see in success is other individuals who are not even abiding by those principles that I'm learning in church. So that's why I'm easily influenced by those individuals, because they have a certain level of success that I'm in the individuals that are being in the church.
Good. What's your thought, Deacon Dan?
Well, Derek hit it on the nail. Forced. Yeah. You know, Deborah and I had our kids. They had to go to church. Yeah. That was non-negotiable.
Right.
You know. But I look at it. I'm gonna give you my church that I attend. Dynamic children department. Okay. Well, you know, they're structured, they're teaching the kids, those kids are smart. And the transition to the youth is weak.
Yeah.
You know, so if you got a strong youth department where you got, you know, telling young guys, the ladies, like at IS is, and when then, you know, they get to talk with me and they be around me, I'm gonna tell them like at IS is. I'll let them know, being in law enforcement 40 years, you know, this is where y'all need to go. But being forced to go to church, you that's going there because your mama and your daddy making you go. So they and most of them I hear them say, well, you know, once I get of age, I ain't got to go to church no more. You know, so that value that they had in going to church, how much they took with them when they got of age.
Yeah,
become a youth, and that's one of the major thing there. You got to have a strong children and youth, but you also, you know, Christian, you're gonna have to some kind of way. You could do it in a Christian way, but you need to tell them the truth. Yeah. Well, if you don't tell them the truth, you know, that's, you know, what you're telling them is not gonna be beneficial for them once they, you know, leave the youth department or whatever. So you got to tell them the truth.
That's so good. The truth.
Coach, can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
Something came across my mind as the other two were talking.
Yep.
There's also sometimes that element that sometimes people don't want to discuss that can come from the church. Okay, let's just say you've raised in the church, you've been raised since you was a baby all the way to now you're a young adult. You're 16, 17, and you're being taught all this time, pray to God for what you want and you'll get what you want. Okay, I'm praying, I'm 16, I'm 17, I'm praying to God and I'm trying to get a job. I'm praying for a job, but then I don't get that job. But okay, let's go back to the misguided cousin. My misguided cousin out there selling weed on the corner, making fast money. He's showing me that money. And I want money right now. I want to work for my own so I can buy some of my own things. So the other element to that sometimes is you raised in the church with those Christian values, but then what happened when it sometimes seemed like something didn't work. And the other side looks more, as I think Derek said, that looks more applicable, because now I can go sell. Hey, my cousin Ronnie, he been selling drugs for 2 years. I ain't never got caught. Yeah. But I ain't thinking about getting caught because Ronnie ain't got caught. And Ronnie telling me how not to get caught. But then the moment I go out on that corner and I start selling, I make a little money at first. But it's just that one day that 5-0 has got that extra surveillance or that extra, got some CIs out there, whatever going on. And what happens then? Now you caught. So I just wanted to throw that in there, that there is that other element sometimes that will lead them out there.
That is so good. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that.
Let me throw something in there, Coach. I found that, I know some fellows might don't agree with me. When I was in high school, I had a 1967 Cadillac Coupe de Ville.
All right now.
I didn't ride no fellas.
Yeah.
I run all the young ladies.
Come on.
So see, I figured out that the fellas ain't gonna have no money in their pocket.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna put no gas in the car. Something go wrong with the car. I take a matter of fact, I had to have something did to the muffler, and I had 3 young ladies in there. Do you know they gave me the money to pay for my muffler?
There you go. There you go.
So I tell my son, hey, y'all want to ride all these fellas that want it, but you hang around these young ladies now. They don't want to go put that money in their pocket.
Hey man, anybody who riding on the Ville, listen, you're gonna attract the girls of another level. Them girls got some money. That's some good stuff right there. That's some good stuff. Listen, let me ask you this. What advice would you offer to help a young man make better decisions on his way to building his best life? This is real, man. And we're going to end with, I want to go back to those 7 worst life decisions, because we see this, we see it. And now the life decisions are so different in part from in times past, because how things have changed. And so I'm really interested in hearing what you guys would say, to a young person to make better decisions to build their best life. Let's go ahead and start with you, Derek. Let us know somebody's watching and your advice to them is what?
And I want to go back to Dr. when he said experience is the best teacher. Please, if you're listening, do not let experience be your teacher. Let my mistakes and the mistakes of people be the best lessons for you. Because I promise you, yes, it might have more impact if you go through it, but you're going to have 10 times success if you learn from others' mistakes. That's exactly what I would say.
Man, oh my goodness. Learning from someone else's mistake. If I've gone into 7 pits along the way, I told my son, I've been where you are, buddy. Hello. You know what I mean? It will be smart of you to ask me, to avoid. And boy, these kids today, they want their own experience. I want to experience it for myself. That's called stuck on stupid.
Yep.
Okay? That is called crazy. Anyhow, let me stay on track. Dr. Levette, what's your view?
Listen, I'm a backdrop right on what Derek said. Yeah. And that is to take time to know what the consequences are before you take the action. Yeah. Wow. Because if Derek told you, I've done this will happen, and he said it 3 times at least on here. Yeah. He gave 3 real live experiences of what can happen. So to every young man that's listening to this, you got 3 lessons already that can equate to consequences.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to get to those consequences, then you already know. Take time, think. Okay, what's gonna happen if I do this? If I get in that car with my 2 other friends, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna go rob somebody? Are they gonna go steal from somebody? What are they gonna go do? Is they gonna kill somebody? Because and Deacon Dan might even touch on this, but because once you get caught, it don't matter. You could have been in the back seat sleep. If you with them, you with them.
Yeah.
So the best advice I would give is think, because 1 minute, just 1 minute of a bad decision can cost you a lifetime of hardship.
So good. So good. Man, y'all are on fire today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, share this with somebody. Share this with somebody. Encourage a group of boys to watch this, and then pick out what they can and have a discussion around it. I'm going to drop this one in there before I ask Deacon Dan to share his thought. I thought about this. A few years ago, I was traveling. I had a nice place, and I went to a store, and I saw this beautiful plant at the door. It was about a 4-foot plant. It was real. It was nicely edged up and everything, and it was perfect for my place. And so I brought it home. I put it at this particular spot, and I thought, this is beautiful. This is just simply beautiful. Some people came by my spot, and they were like, man, nice tree in the corner. I mean, that's what's up, man. I'm Miller. I'm from the islands. I got a nice tree. Okay? I mean, the tree sets it up. But here's the deal. As an itinerant speaker, I travel a lot, and I was living by myself. And so I chose in Texas to take my plant out of the house and put it on the patio while I'm traveling. And I went to traveling for about 2 weeks, and I came back, and there was no leaves on my plant. There was no leaves. And it was then I realized you could be something nice, great, and grand, but you put it in the wrong environment.
That's good.
You be in the wrong place, your beauty will diminish right away. I realized that was a tropical plant, and Texas 100-degree weather was not friendly to it. It was a plant that would have thrived in Florida. As a matter of fact, had I took it out of the pot and put it in the ground in Florida, it would have probably become bigger than my house.
Wow.
But because I had it in a safe place inside, it would have just kept its beauty but never grew to its fullest potential. But when I took it out of the comfort of a good space and brought it outside to the patio where the element was not conducive to its potential, somebody ought to shout, he's what to teach. Listen, I said that tree taught me about environments. And it was from that moment I made a commitment. I want to be in the best environment. So for the young man that's watching, listen, find the best environments to be in, because those are the places where you thrive the best. Deacon Dan, what's your view as to advice that a young man can take to building his best life?
Well, one of my views is to teach the young man to give him different scenarios. Maybe in the field I was in, I can give him some scenarios. Like the vet was talking about, you ride with your friend and something happens. You could be not riding with your friends. 2 of your friends come by, see you on the corner. Hey, man, let's go. You jump in, your friends already robbed somebody.
Yeah.
And when you get pulled over, guess what? You going down there with them. And you see how loyal to your friends is, because they're not going to say, oh, he wasn't in there with us.
Say they self.
Right. It's the same way with, you got drugs. You ride with somebody. You pick them up. They got the drugs on them, but they taking stick up onto your seat. And then you try to explain, okay, those not mine. This your car, isn't it? Yeah. So who gonna get blamed? So this is where you have to tell them different situations that happen. Hopefully they'll pay attention, so they won't go through the same problems. As you discuss this with them and tell them the scenarios. Give them, hey, this is the best situation you can do, man. Don't do it.
Yep.
Stay out of it.
Stay out of it.
You
So
know, yeah.
gentlemen, we've done it again. We've come to the end of our talk. I'm interested in hearing your 7. I'm going to ask you to close with your 7 worst decision a young man can make. And ladies and gentlemen, listen to these 7 from these guys, because if we can get our children's children to understand that these aren't behaviors that have to be, you can avoid a lot of them. I love when I was thinking about Dr. Levette example early on, I'm like, it's habits, if formed early, can really mess your life up all of your life, because you did not figure out how to break these bad decisions. So I want you guys just to go ahead and just close out talk by highlighting your 7 worst decision a young man can make.
Yours.
Who's going to start it off? So let's go with Deacon Dan.
Okay. You know, the one I said about unprotected sex.
Mm-hmm.
You got to, protect yourself from unprotected sex, because you don't know whether you can get a sexual disease that could be a lifetime on you, or you can have unwanted pregnancy.
Yep.
And by common sense, even though you say, well, I don't like to use them, I don't want to. Well, no, hey, if you got to have it, protect yourself, because there's sexual diseases out there that, hey, it'll kill you. People that say, like, when we was coming up, we was talking about certain ones that they go get a shot for or whatever. But some of these ones now is no going back. Once you attract it, I got it. It stays in your system. So that's one of the things. And another one I was talking about, quitting a job without having a strategy for what's next. Stay on your job. You might not like this job, but crawl and keep crawling until you can be able to walk.
Right.
Because I had jobs. A lot of people say, I don't want to flip no burgers. Hey, if you ain't making no money, go flip a burger. Ain't say you got to stay there for years and years to flip that burger. But if you walk off that job, if you ain't got another one coming to you, then what you gonna do? I was fortunate when I was coming up. I quit a job, but I'm gonna have another one right up lined up.
Yeah.
I worked for United Parcel Service. Now that was a job. That was hard work. But I got through it. I worked for a paint company. I was worked in the shipping, and all of a sudden they want me to be a driver. But when I left there, I went to UPS. So I always had something strategized at my next step. I've never without a job. So that's good. One thing I say. You always got, you need to know where you're going and how you're going to get there, because believe it or not, there's a lot of jobs out there. But there's a lot of jobs out there that we don't want to do.
Yep. So good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go on to Derek. Go ahead. Drop some of those for me, Derek, and we're going to get on to Dr. Levette afterwards and close today's show.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to list the 7.
Yep.
Make it straight to the point. Number 1 is hanging with the wrong friends. Number 2, be having the wrong female in your life. Number 3 is not taking ownership of your mistakes. And what I mean, sometimes we blame circumstances, our parents, or whatever, instead of taking ownership of just the bad decisions that we make. Number 4 is thinking that we have forever to accomplish things, and that sometimes we don't have a mindset of very intentional about the things that we do. Number 5 is not building your character. When you go back to all the things that Dr. Levette was talking about, lying, stealing, cheating, those are lack of character issues. So in that, you have to build your character. Number 6 would be not getting financially educated, not learning about money, because a lot of our problems stem from money or the lack thereof. So if we get financially educated, we can eliminate a lot of our problems that we're going to eventually run into. And the last one, but not least, I have to go from others' mistakes. Those 7 bad decisions. If you avoid those 7 bad decisions, you're on the building your best life for sure.
Nice, nice. Dr. Levette, bring it to us.
So I already initially, excuse me, already initially started off with my main 3, which was stealing, lying, and cheating. And then the other ones that I had the 4th one I had was bad behavior.
Oh.
Well, bad behavior on a consistent basis that leads to trouble. Friend choices. So I think we all in agreement that friend choices were I think on all of our lists. Next one I had was being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Ooh.
And then the last one was that I had on here was you making a choice without understanding the consequences, which was one I brought earlier. When you knew what the making a bad choice when you knew what the consequence was going to be.
Yeah. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, today we talked about some things that were taught to a lot of us, but a lot of us didn't pass it on. And then some of us, we experienced a lot of lessons through these different poor decisions that were made. And sometimes people just continue to make the decision. We are the subtotal of the choices and the decisions we make. I love Build Your Best Life, this platform, because it puts you in reminding of what you should be doing to get the life you desire. For the mother with son, your goal should be to help your boys to figure out how not to make those mistakes. Then when we talk about boys who are watching talks like this, Jason Baston is watching us in Canada. Baston, while you're in Canada, make sure your sons are watching this, because here is a broadcast that is talking about what can be done and views that has to be looked at to ensure that someone doesn't wreck their lives. So thank you so much for watching us. Gentlemen, it's always a blast. And here's the deal. One day we're going to do this live together. We're going to all sit across from a table, and we're going to put on the cameras, and we're going to go at it, and we're going to have a great time. And whenever we do that, coffee is on me, gentlemen. Coffee is on me. Okay?
I got donuts.
Just coffee.
I got donuts.
Yeah, coffee's on me. Dr. Levette has the donuts, man. Dr. Levette has the donuts. So, guys, it's always a blast. Coach Deborah, thank you so much for all that you do in helping mothers with sons and helping young men in general with this platform. If you have not purchased Coach Deborah's book, go purchase the book today. It's called Build Your Best Life by Coach Deborah B. Smith. In addition, if you're watching this and you like this content, please become a partner, a financial partner with this platform. Something like this can continue to go on without the financial support. Derek mentioned, man, listen, money answers a lot of problems, fixes a lot of things along the way. And for an organization like this, your partnership will be greatly appreciated. We're over time. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Gentlemen, see you next month.
Goodbye.
Have a good one.